Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday. It looks great outside. Go get some sun, but let's start with greetings. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'll be your host here.
Guy in the chair.
He said it!
And today, yes, this is the critical drinker, but this time, it's the drinker fixes alien Romulus. So let's enjoy.
Watching Alien Romulus was kind of a frustrating experience because it was like someone had laid the foundations for a nice gothic cathedral only to top it off with a drive-through McDonald's. All the right ingredients were there to deliver a decent, tightly paced action horror movie. Maybe not the most original film ever made, but a decent crowd pleaser that would prove there was still life in the old xenomorph yet. But instead, the script evolved into a bunch of idiotic characters making increasingly retarded decisions purely to facilitate the plot, punctuated by relentless key jangling and shameless nostalgia bait.
Get away from her. You bitch.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
In short, it was a film that never quite lived up to its potential, and that makes it a prime candidate for an episode of The Drinker Fixies. Now, for those of you not too familiar with this series, because I haven't done one in fucking forever, the premise unfolds thusly. Using whatever writing skill and imagination I have, I take an existing character or storyline and make tweaks to the writing to try to turn it into something a little more logical and cohesive. I can make changes to a reasonable extent, but I'm not allowed to just rewrite the entire thing, so I have to keep the same characters and general setup as before. So with that in mind, let's consider some of the biggest issues with the original movie. Well, for a start, all the key jangling and member berries can fuck right off. No more deepfake Ash, no more callbacks and stealing dialogue from other films, no more Prometheus black goo, and none of that stupid recovering the alien from the first movie nonsense. The characters and their backgrounds also felt like a weird mashup of different ideas and plot requirements that didn't quite mesh together. They're manual laborers trapped on some shithole colony that they're forcibly prevented from leaving, but they somehow also have access to orbital spaceships that they can use whenever they feel like it. No, this time we're going to give them a background that makes more sense in the context of the story.
I think I can smell shite.
Also, let's tweak the events that set this thing into motion. In the original movie, a character gets impregnated by a facehugger, dies by chestburster almost instantly, and sets off a chain of ridiculous events that forces the characters to travel through the station to get back to their ship. Let's change that to something a little more logical and maybe kill two birds with one stone by making better use of the other big element of the story, Andy. The original script doesn't really know what to do with Andy. There's two versions of him at play, well-meaning but slightly retarded Andy, and slightly less well-meaning but still basically good Super Andy, and the writers can't seem to figure out how those two versions should play off each other or even what his actual purpose in the story is supposed to be. So let's change that up and deliver a more meaningful character arc for him that plays off the split personality better, gives him an understandable goal and a logical way of pursuing it. So with all that in mind, here's my revised story. Rain and the others are part of an illegal salvage operation where they loot derelict and decommissioned spacecraft for parts to sell on the black market. Their ship, the Corbelan, can operate inside a solar system, but they lack the resources for long-distance space travel. So essentially they're stuck where they are. Their objective is to save up enough to buy safe passage to a system outside of Weyland-Yutani space, but a string of bad luck and failed missions have left them low on supplies and money. Now they're getting desperate. They're on their way to another job when they detect the Romulus space station, which is now in a decaying orbit around a planet. In a few hours, it'll enter the atmosphere and burn up. For Rain and the others, it seems like too good an opportunity to pass up, so they dock with it and hack their way on boards. The place is a mess and there's no signs of life, but there's valuable gear lying everywhere, including cryo chambers. As the others set to work loading this stuff onto the Corbelan, Tyler, Rain and Andy make their way to the ship's main computer terminal. It's offline and it looks like it's been forcibly disconnected by someone or something. Hoping to find out what happened here, they plug Andy into the computer to interrogate it. Unfortunately, the computer takes over Andy's body with the mission to retrieve a xenomorph sample and return it to the company at any cost. To do this, he first sabotages the main airlock, which explosively decompresses, almost killing one of the group and forcing Navarro to pull the Corbelan away from the station. Now there's no way for them to get to her. The only other airlock is on the other side of the station, forcing the group to make a dangerous trip through the bowels of the facility. Along the way, they ask Andy what he was able to learn from the computer, but he lies and explains that the data files were all deleted and he's got no idea what this place was being used for. He was, however, able to download a schematic of the station, so he knows the fastest way to get to the Corbelan. And wouldn't you know it, this route takes them right through the facehugger chamber, where Andy seals a couple of the group inside and makes it look like an accident. They're able to override the doors and free them, but not before Kay gets impregnated by a facehugger. Oh dear, what bad luck. Andy suggests putting her into cryosleep and taking the Corbelan to the nearest company outpost, which facilitates his mission, but the others want her to move right away, so they order Andy to lead them to the ship's medical bay. Bjorn's getting increasingly hostile towards Andy and believes that he led them into the facehugger trap, and he almost shoots Andy before Rain disarms him. Not long after this, they're ambushed by a xenomorph and the group splits up, with Bjorn and Andy in one group and Rain and the rest in the other. Rain notices that the alien leaves Kay alone, confirming that she's carrying a chestburster inside her, and instead goes after Bjorn and Andy. As the others hurry towards the medical bay, Bjorn's cornered by the xenomorph and begs Andy to help him, but Andy explains that shooting it would compromise the hull and kill both of them. So instead, he walks away and leaves Bjorn to his fate. In the medical lab, Rain and the others get Kay onto a bed and run a diagnosis on her, which confirms that she's got less than an hour before the chestburster kills her. Meanwhile, Tyler examines the research and data files that are scattered everywhere and learns what this place was really working on. During the events of Alien, Ash had taken the dead facehugger that killed Kane, put it into an escape pod and jettisoned it into space without telling the rest of the crew, as a contingency in case his plan to return the xenomorph fails. The company eventually recovered the pod and collected samples of the facehugger's DNA. At this point, Andy returns and explains that Bjorn is dead. Knowing that the others now suspect him, he decides to admit the truth, that he's actually Rook, the station's main computer who's taken over Andy's body. He reveals that the scientists here were able to engineer more facehuggers from the recovered samples, but they escaped containment and overwhelmed the crew, converting them all into aliens. He tried to lock down the station as a failsafe, but the handful of survivors shut him down and disconnected his systems before they were killed. Now his objective is to get a live sample back to the company for analysis. For this, he offers them a deal. Safe passage to the airlock if they help him get Kay to the Corbelan, where she'll be put into cryosleep until the company arrives. Furious at his betrayal, Tyler tries to attack Andy, only to get easily overpowered and injured. Rain tries to reason with him, believing that she can reach the real Andy who's still trapped inside, but he explains that Andy wasn't even real either, and only really existed because of her desire to believe in him. He then tries to kill her too, only to be saved by Kay, who guns him down, apparently killing him. Kay then reminds Rain that the aliens won't attack her since she's already impregnated, and so if they stick close enough to her, they might be able to make it back to the Corbelan. Together, Kay, Rain, and an injured Tyler make a run for it, fighting off xenomorphs along the way, but Tyler gets taken and only Rain and Kay make it back to the airlock. It's here that Rain hears Tyler over the radio begging for help. He's still alive several levels down, and if she can get to him in time, she might just be able to save him. But they only have minutes left before the station burns up, so she has to hurry. Leaving Navarro to help Kay into a cryo chamber with orders to evacuate if she's not back in 10 minutes, Rain heads back into the station and reaches Tyler, only to realize that it was actually Andy impersonating him over the radio so that he could lead her straight into the alien nest and get her killed. Meanwhile, a damaged but still functional Andy boards the Corbelan and murders Navarro, then seals Kay inside a cryo chamber and prepares to lift off to complete his mission. With no other choice, Rain and Tyler disable the station's gravity and float back up to the airlock as the station starts to break apart around them. Andy's about to lift off when alarms start to sound from the cryo chamber, and when he goes to investigate, he finds the chamber broken open and Kay lying dead inside. It seems they were too late to stop the chestburster, which killed her and then proceeds to kill him too. Rain and Tyler make it aboard the Corbelan and lift off just as the station plunges into the atmosphere, but even as Tyler pilots them to safety, Rain notices the broken cryo chamber and realizes there's an alien on board. The alien then kills Tyler in the cockpit and pursues Rain through the ship before she's finally able to lure it into the cargo bay and eject it into the planet's atmosphere below. The movie ends with Rain, the last survivor of her crew, setting course for the nearest star system outside the company's control, her future still unknown. Now, I'll be the first to admit that it's not a perfect script by any measure, and I had to cheat a little with how quickly an alien could mature from chestburster into something bigger and more dangerous, and I still don't love the idea of recovering stuff from the first Alien movie, but at least this version seems a little more plausible than sifting through the Nostromo wreckage to find the original xenomorph. I don't really like the fourth act stinger aboard the Corbelan because stuff like this is pretty hackneyed at this point, but it was a major part of the original script and it's become kind of a hallmark of the series, so okay, fine, we can keep it in. But at least my version gets rid of that retarded engineer hybrid thing. I think this version also gives us a more consistent arc for Andy, while also removing deepfake Ash from the story. And yeah, it does mean killing Andy at the end, but I think it gives him a much more well-defined role in the movie, and opens up a bit of space for Rain and Tyler to rekindle their relationship. For a while, anyway. It also does a bit more with Kay as a character, who was just kind of a screaming damsel in distress in the original movie. Now she actually gets to be a bit of a badass and use her impregnation to help the group, and it avoids the stupid crash sequence that set things in motion in the original. So, there you have it, my little attempt to fix Alien Romulus. Fundamentally, I'm still against the idea of a mid-quel retcon movie like this, and I think at best this would result in a workmanlike and fairly forgettable Alien movie, but at least the problems and flaws wouldn't be quite so obvious, and the script would treat its audience and the franchise with a little more respect. And at this point, even that feels like kind of a victory. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, I hope y'all like it or what he had to say in his plot of Clone Wars. The movie I stopped watching Alien Romulus to understand it, but I have the gist of it. If I've seen the old ones, which I have. But still, I hope you liked it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But I just tell you what, I hope you had an awesome night and your rest of your day goes really well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.